All right, welcome back, decoders. Hope you guys are all good out there in the world, wherever you guys are. Got 19 in the chat so far. Can you guys give me a thumbs up? Make sure this my sound is good. I know it probably is, but give me a thumbs up if my sound. And Derek, go ahead and give them a word or something so they can hear you.
Yo, what's going on, everyone?
All right. So again, guys, if those of you just got in, give us a thumbs up. Make sure both of us are sounds coming through, and then we'll get started. We got a lot to share. Coffee Girl, always the first one in, giving the thumbs up. Much appreciate you, Coffee Girl. Thank you. Thank you, Jose Hernandez and 33rd Degree Free Memeson. that name always cracks me up. Alan, Marcy, Kathy, Stacy Ann, Scott, Sandy. Thank you guys all for showing up. Appreciate it. Again, I have Derek from Gematinator 85 on once again. If you guys remember last month, or was it last? No, it was the beginning of this month, I guess. We talked about how this month could be something with Donald Trump, and then that came true, and now so we're just kind of here now again, and we're gonna see what other stuff we can pick up on. So me and Derek have a lot to share, and might bring, after me and Derek are done talking, I might bring Dr. Savage on for a bit. He's been long overdue to jump on a stream, and he might jump on a little bit later.
Nice.
So yeah, let me get over to my screen here, and we'll get started. And of course, as soon as I get ready to start, it starts to rain. That's crazy, man. Like as soon as I click the get ready to start, let me close this window real fast. Give me a second.
Yeah, well, the rain just stopped by my house about 30 minutes ago, so I thought I'd pass it your way before we went live here.
Well, how thoughtful.
I'm always thinking ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw the storm. Me and my girlfriend saw the storm was coming before it started, but it literally just started as soon as I got ready to start here. So, all right. So, I got 58 in the chat. Thanks to all 58 of you. Please hit those likes if you're just getting in. And like I said, we're not going to waste too much time because me and Derek have a lot to share. So, as most of you guys know, the most of the events, the big events that have happened in this month, you know, with the Trump thing, and then the Biden Kamala thing, and the convention, and all this stuff, you know, and we're going to kind of talk about. I mean, I'm going to talk about a bit of everything of this month. I'll talk about Trump a bit, but Trump is not the main focus of this. But of course, he'll be mentioned. And but Kamala Harris, right? She just got her basically just got her green light, right? I've been talking about this on my channel for 2 years now, I think, and I can't take full credit. I can't take full credit for my original jumping on to Kamala and presenting this was Zach Hubbard from Gematria Effect News. He had mentioned that he thought Kamala would take over, and I just kind of, ever since that 2 years ago, I've been following all the riddles that they've been putting out with her, and now it seems like we're getting close. And so it's kind of surreal for me to have 2 years of research kind of culminating. And sorry guys if there's loud noise in the back, it's pouring. So let's start. And so I just want to start off with the basic things that I found. And this was one of the most crazy things that I found. I posted in my community section. So from the this article was posted the day after Biden withdrew, but it holds both. It holds true for both days. On this measurement of 1279 days holds true for the 21st, the day he actually dropped out. And if you don't add the day, it's also 1279 days to the day that this article on CNN was posted. And the phrase reads, Biden drops out, endorses Harris. And I thought it was absolutely crazy that the phrase Biden drops out, endorses Harris equals 1279. And that article is head front of the page of CNN exactly 1279 days after Biden and Harris's inauguration. And not only was it after he dropped out, but again, it was also 1279 days to the day he dropped out and to the day that this article was on CNN. So it was perfect in so many ways. And I just thought this was a good way to start to show how even the titles of CNN are coded, right? So just insane, right? And with that being said, I'm going to kind of start with this because I also went to CNN today and I noticed that Kamala Harris was obviously all over the front page, but also was this singer, Charlie XCX. It says Charlie XCX called Kamala Harris brat. Here's why that's a strong endorsement for the candidate whose meme stock is bullish. So again, guys, this is going to be a common theme that I'm going to be pointing us to throughout this whole decode. Is it's all very, very always a money riddle, and I find it very crazy that they're mentioning stocks and bullishness connecting to Kamala Harris, who was born the same day Herbert Hoover died, and Herbert Hoover was the president during the Great Depression. And as Derek's going to show, I think he's got some slides about that. And I just thought it was crazy that in this article on CNN today, they had Charlie XCX, and they're talking about stocks and bullish, which means the stocks are going up, right?
Yeah, and this is a good observation, Cody, because that is a very strange sentence the way they wrote it on the news.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like this whole, my whole theme is going to be about money because I'm actually going to talk about the moon. And of course, money is moon. So it's like, it seems like it's all kind of connected to the money. And what I believe Kamala Harris will bring about some sort of financial crash. I really have always thought that. And I think a lot of other people have seen that in the code too. So, but just notice that they use Charlie XCX as the person who's endorsing. And notice that her name equals 724 in the same cipher. One of the most significant ciphers, President Kamala Harris, 724. And again, tomorrow is the day 724. So I'm kind of watching for that to see if we get something tomorrow. And just notice that she posted on her Twitter, Kamala is brat. Okay, so we're going to decode this phrase also. But just to tell you guys what this is, brat supposedly means someone who likes to party. So when stocks are going up, right, it's like a party, right? So I'm thinking more money going up. People are happy. Everyone's partying and shaking and holding hands, singing Kumbaya. We're making money. But as soon as the crash happens, it's a different story. So I just think that even the meaning of this, it actually even says the meaning of brat is someone who says dumb things sometimes and is honest, blunt, and a little bit volatile. Well, markets are volatile. So again, more money connections, I think.
Yeah, and we're also in the 7th month of the year, 24.
Right, yeah.
The number of the beast equals 724. So that has a lot to do with why this month has been so big.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. 724 in the year. Yeah, that's a good point, a good addition to that. So now I'm going to talk about a big number that I've seen in Kamala Harris's riddle for a while now, but this just all goes so perfect because notice that the post that Charlie XCX made was Kamala is brat, right? That's not even proper English, okay? But it's coded, right? Kamala is brat, right? And you would think that she'd say Kamala is a brat, but again, Kamala is brat equals 345. And that just happens to be the gematria of President Kamala Harris, 345. And the meme that's even the Simpsons are on the front of CNN today. If you go to their front page, it says the Simpsons are at the top headline. So the Simpsons meme with Lisa Simpson and Kamala Harris dressing alike is obviously one of the big themes of this. And notice that the actual episode that shows this actual event with Lisa Simpson is called The Simpsons Bart to the Future. What are the chances that it equals 345 in the same cipher as President Kamala Harris? And that's the episode that supposedly predicts President Kamala Harris. And don't forget, in that episode, Kamala Harris is known or Lisa Simpson is known for saying, we've inherited quite the budget crunch. So again, a money reference, okay? So you're going to keep seeing money references. But also what makes this even crazier is that Inauguration Day is always the day leaving 345 days in the year. So again, I think that's why this number is so big. The inauguration day, January 20th, is the day leaving 3:45 in the year. President Kamala Harris, The Simpsons Spark to the Future, and The Post by Charlie XCX, all 3:45. Now, this riddle goes directly to the Golden Gate. So now you have another money reference. Golden Gate, San Francisco, where a lot of the big tech companies are. Ripple XRP based out of San Francisco. I've been talking a lot about that for this month. But look at this. Remember, Kamala Harris was a DA in San Francisco, and she's born in Oakland. Now, the Golden State Warriors, who have the Golden Gate Bridge on their thing, she was given a number 1 jersey by Stephen Curry with the Golden Gate Bridge on it, right? And look at her name, guys. President Kamala Harris, 345. The Golden Gate Bridge, 345. Kamala is Brat, 345. Just posted today by this singer. And notice that this number is very important to the Golden Gate Bridge, because if you guys can see this here, the official measurements of the bridge are there's 345 meters on land from this point to the right where it meets the water on both sides. What are the chances? The Golden Gate Bridge, 345, and the numbers are even coded specifically into the bridge. And just notice the amount between is the 1280, which connects back to the bridge collapse this year that happened at 12 or 1:28 a.m. and bridge collapse equals 1:28. So we got this 345 connection, and Kamala Harris completely tied because she's from that area. And
it was also the 1280th day of their presidency that Biden stepped down.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I missed that, but that's a good point. So yeah, that's great. Because wow. I mean, I guess that makes it even more clear that it's connected to this bridge. And I just dug a little deeper because I was like, okay, well, what's up with Kamala Harris and the Golden Gate Bridge? Well, the Golden Gate Bridge opened exactly 10,009 days before Kamala was born. And what an interesting number, right? It's really the number 19 because it's got 3 zeros. But what's interesting is the number 10,009 is the 1,231st prime number, as I showed here. Well, President of the United States in Satanic equals 1231. So Kamala Harris is born 1231 prime days after the Golden Gate Bridge opened, and now she's running for President of the United States, which equals 1231. Not only is 10,009 1231st prime, but 1231 is a prime. It's the 202nd prime, and this is all about San Francisco, and San Francisco equals 202. And don't forget, Skull and Bones equals 202. And just insane, because remember, she's been connected specifically with Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors giving her this jersey, right? And this I got on Zach's stream last night, so I can't take full credit for this, but I did add an addition to this, because last night, guys, when Kamala Harris was all over the news, her team from Oakland, the Oakland Athletics, were playing a game against Houston, guys. This is such a joke because the starting pitcher for the Athletics last night was Hogan Harris, and he won the game, the starting pitcher to win the game, Hogan Harris, and they win 4-0, and their record improves to 40-62, and they beat Houston, and Houston is in Harris County, guys. So you have the winning pitcher from Kamala's hometown winning last night, being Hogan Harris, and then he beats a team from Harris County. It's just, notice that he wears the number 63, like JFK was taken out in 63. But I just thought this was absolutely insane. Like, what are the chances?
This is cool. And the fact that it's the Astros in Houston, you know, the home of NASA, we're going to see how this is all synced up to NASA and their moon landing from 69 specifically.
Yeah, this is going to lead. I didn't even know about this when I was putting together all the moon stuff. And this actually segues perfectly into all the moon stuff I'm about ready to talk about. Because again, like he just said, Houston, you know, NASA, all that stuff. So, I mean, it goes perfect. And so I just wanted to, again, point out one of the biggest parts of this that happened. On the day that Kamala Harris was endorsed by Biden and he drops out, the same day, guys, the golfer Alexander Schauffele wins the 152nd British Open, and his name equals 152, and like Kamala Devi Harris, and it's a 3-cipher match to Kamala Devi Harris. And you can see right there, he wins the 152 the same day that she becomes big news, and his name is a 3-cipher match. Not to mention that just before he dropped out, passed the torch. They had all over CNN that Biden needed to pass the torch, which equals 152. And they had Chariots of Fire, as Derek talked about in his stream, and I think he might talk about it a bit later too. That also equals 152. But notice that financial collapse equals 152. I started out this stream talking about how I think Kamala is tied to the financial collapses because she was born the same day Herbert Hoover died. Okay, Joseph in the chat laying down a huge connection here. The Simpsons episode was 152 days after her birthday?
Yep. Yeah, that's in one of my slides.
I must have missed that. Wow. Okay, yeah. Insane. So that goes perfect with this slide because, again, who gave her the number 1 jersey with the Golden Gate Bridge on it? It was Stephen Curry, which equals 152. And so, again, just pretty obvious in every single way, okay? And just in case you guys were wondering, there's another connection maybe here with the Golden Gate is that the CNN posted this, Brat Girl Summer. And notice that this was the all over CNN today. Brat Green is creeping into the 2024 presidential race. Charlie XCX endorses Harris with Brat Green because that's Brat Green is the hashtag for Brat Summer. Notice it says 40,000 videos. I just showed there was a couple 40 connections. That could be tied to Mercury, actually. But yeah, so this is kind of like the battle cry of the summer for this girl X, this Charlie XCX, and now it's connected to Kamala Harris. And just notice that Brat Green equals Golden Gate. So that's not the biggest connection, but that's definitely interesting considering I'm talking about the Golden Gate. Now, is there anything you want to add before I start talking about the moon, Derek? Or
well, if you want a quick show the slides for the Simpsons episode, there's like 2 or 3 things that kind of tie in. Seen as, to me, this is one of the biggest riddles, right? I mean, we have Lisa Simpson appearing in the same outfit, essentially, that Kamala has. And real quick, since Joseph pointed this out as well, this Simpsons episode from all the way back in 2000 aired on a date with 42 and 24 numerology, connecting to the word female. And Lisa Simpson's full name is actually Lisa Marie Simpson, which amazingly has matching 614 gematria with Kamala Harris. And here's the 152. The episode was 152 days after her birthday. The dropout 15 weeks and 2 days before Election Day. This is probably the big one here, right? The 152 has been huge.
I mean, that's absolutely insane. I don't know how I missed that before.
Well, another thing that stood out is that it was also 47 days after Lisa Marie Presley's birthday. Lisa Marie, the same 2 given names. And
Right.
remember, Lisa Marie Presley died in January of last year in the run-up to the presidential race. And Lisa Simpson has matching 47 gematria with feminism, a huge number connected to the White House. The word president, also 47, not on there for some reason, but it's definitely tied into Lisa Marie Presley as well. This episode was season 11, episode 17. And when you take these numbers, 11 and 17, these are intricately connected to the number 187. 11 times 17 is 187. 1117, the 187th prime number. And Lisa Marie Presley equals 187. Well, the episode's name, Bart to the Future, is 1200. And that's how many days are between the birthdays of Kamala and Lisa Marie Presley. So there's more that ties into the divine feminine code, but I'll let you get back to yours until we get there.
Okay, yeah, because I think that's going to be a big part of it once we get a little further. So
yeah.
let's see. Hold on. So yeah, great additions, and I just think it. I mean, this is. I think what we're showing is beyond beyond coincidence, and
For sure.
so look at. I mean, again, remember, guys, we're going to start talking about the moon, which is obviously connected with the feminine, right? And he just mentioned the feminine, which we're going to talk more about, but. Notice that Kamala Harris being endorsed, Biden dropping out, and Kamala Harris being endorsed was on the anniversary of the July 21st, 1969 moonwalk by Neil Alden Armstrong, right? Which equals 201. It was on the 201 day of the year. And, but look at this. He did this on Apollo 11, which equals 55, and moon landing equals 55. And so on the 55th anniversary of this moon landing with Apollo 11, you get this big news about Kamala Harris, being endorsed and dropping out. So again, she's feminine. She's a symbol of the feminine, whether you guys agree if she's really a female or not. She's a symbol of the feminine, and the moon is feminine. So going to the moon, right? We're going to the feminine. That's what I see from this. And not a coincidence at all that it happened on the anniversary of this event. And so we're going to take a really crazy look into Kamala Harris and the connection to the moon landing, because remember, guys, this 248 number, the United States just turned 248, right? But Kamala Harris just happens to be born 248 weeks exactly before the moonwalk, which, again, she was endorsed by Biden on the moonwalk anniversary, and she just happens to be born 248 weeks before the actual moonwalk on July 21st, 1969. And again, I'm going to show you how that number matters, because look at that. First woman president, 248. She's born 248 weeks before the moonwalk. And we just had the Trump A word, which I'm not going to say, but that equals 248. And remember, Kamala Harris was 248 Mercury years old on that day that Trump got his ear wound. President Donald Trump, 248, Trump assassinate. Remember, Kamala Harris's dad's name is Donald J. Harris. So huge connections between Harris and Trump. But remember, as I just said, Kamala Harris just happened to be 248 Mercury years old on the Trump head wound. Okay. And again, President Donald Trump A word equals 248. First woman president, 248. So, and then that ties in with JFK, because there was a lot of parallels, of course, between the JFK thing and the Trump thing. And so from what I found was, and I knew this for a while, but this is a big part of this puzzle, is that Kamala Harris was born 333 days after the JFK death, right? So, and her name in reverse satanic equals 333. And remember, there's been a huge riddle with Kamala and the moon. And remember, JFK, I forgot to mention, JFK known for giving the speech about we choose to go to the moon. And remember, last year on Kamala's dad's birthday, on Donald J. Harris's birthday, India supposedly landed on the moon. Again, I say supposedly because, yeah. But, I mean, what's the chance of that last year they land on the moon on her dad's birthday, and Kamala equals India, and it was India being the fourth country ever to land on the moon. And back to the 333. Remember how I told you she was born 333 days after JFK died? Well, the day that she was endorsed by Biden on July 21st the other day was 333 days after the day India landed on the moon. And India, of course, is where Kamala's supposedly ancestry from. And it was 33 days before her dad's next birthday. Remember, her dad's birthday is the same day that India landed. So it just happens to be placed right in the middle of 333 days and 33 days till the next birthday of her father. And what's even crazier is on the day that Biden endorsed her for the next president, she was exactly 33 lunar phases after she was the first woman to have presidential power. She had presidential power on 11/19/2021. From that day to the day she was endorsed by Biden the other day was exactly 33 lunar phases, to go with all the 333s and 33s that I just showed you. Again, all the 30, and the 33 could be connected to obviously masonry and the Phoenix degree. The Phoenix is a lot of times associated with the feminine also. So I think that could have a tie with the 33s. But remember, JFK gave his speech in Rice University in Houston, Texas. So what are the chances that JFK gave his "We Choose to Go to the Moon" speech in Harris County, guys? That's where he was at when he gave his speech in Harris County. And I just tied Kamala Harris with his, remember, she's born 333 days after he died. And I just made a bunch of other connections with her and the moon. And there you go. What are the chances? And another big connection is if you go to the Wikipedia page about the "We Choose to Go to the Moon," it mentions that at Rice University in Houston, Texas, Kennedy characterized his space as a new frontier, which is why I titled this video "A New Frontier," invoking the pioneer spirit. And then years later, Kamala Harris would choose to go by the Secret Service code name Pioneer. And of course, this is all happening in the month where the Secret Service is under investigation, and her Secret Service name is Pioneer, all about going to the moon. And another thing I didn't put in this, but the director of the Secret Service, who just resigned today, the day of the shooting, I believe, was 333 days after her birthday. And again, I just told you that Kamala Harris was tied with JFK in the 333. So, like, it was perfectly placed with this female director of Secret Service, and also the connection between JFK and his Pioneer, and her name being Secret Service name being Pioneer.
Yeah. Kim Cheadle was in her 666th day as the director of the Secret Service when Trump was reportedly shot.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't put that in here. Do you have a slide of that?
I don't have that on a slide, no.
Okay. I know Joseph's been showing it, so a lot of people, Joseph showed it a few times, I think, but yeah, so I think people have heard it, but it's definitely important to reiterate that, because, I mean, that's just crazy too, 666 days of her office. And I believe she took office on Patrick Mahomes' birthday, and again, Patrick Mahomes, the commander of the Chiefs, right? The star player of the Chiefs, trying to go for 3 in a row. Remember how he had all the 333 riddles at the Super Bowl last year? I think that was connected with Kamala Harris, because in gematria, Patrick Mahomes equals 152 like Kamala Devi Harris. And his full name equals 333.
Yep. Won his first Super Bowl on the date, leaving 333 days in the year.
Yep. And so just more solid proof that this is connected to Kamala Harris, this "We Choose to Go to the Moon." Not only did JFK give this speech in Harris County, Texas, he gave this speech on September 12th, which is a date written 912. And the number 912 is the gematria of Kamala Devi Harris and female president. And that day to the day of Kamala's birth was exactly 110 weeks. And that's the gematria of president. And that speech was given on the day leaving 110 days in the year.
Wow.
So not only was it coded with the 912 president, female president, it was also coded with the 110. And now, is there anything that you feel like you should add to this before I keep going, Derek, or no?
Well, you just showed the 275 on screen here. I don't know if you have this, and sorry for stepping on you if you do, but Kamala was born 2,275 days after the founding of NASA.
I don't have that, no.
Yeah, 2,275 days from...
You have a slide for that?
No, I don't. I was just going to add it to what you had here. I think it's... I probably should. I can make one.
When is the...
It's July 29th of 1958.
To her actual birthday, right?
Yes, sir.
That's insane. I did not see that. Wow. Okay, so guys, Kamala Harris is born exactly 2,275. That's the big number. 275 days after NASA, right? And as I was just getting ready to show, is I was going to connect Kamala Harris to the number 275. So keep this measurement in mind as we start talking about her and NASA. If I can get back to my thing here. So what I want you guys to see is, again, she's born 2,275 days after NASA, and the speech is often called "We Choose to Go to the Moon," which has the gematria of 275. And from the day of in the year on the calendar at each year, from Kamala's birthday, the prior year, to the day of the moonwalk, which is when she got endorsed, is 275 days. So Biden endorses Harris on the 275th day after her birthday, and we choose to go to the moon, 275. She's born 2,275 days after NASA. Okay. And it gets even crazier with the 275. This is my favorite part of the decode because it's pretty insane. Remember, in the beginning of this decode, I talked about how first woman president equals 248. She was born exactly 248 weeks before the date of the moonwalk, which is when she was endorsed. And 248 is the gematria. When you type that number out, it equals 275. And again, she was born 4 years, 275 days before that event. And first woman president equals 248, right? Just like when you type the word 248 out, it equals 275. Well, if you type the word 248 out, it equals first woman president. It equals 112.95, right? And 265. So 248 equals 265. First woman president, 265. 248, 112, 112.95. You guys see how it's coded? And don't forget Kamala Harris equals 112 and Houston equals 112, to go with what I already mentioned about the Houston. So it's just, yeah.
Ellen just pointed out in the chat, the first multiple of 275 is 550. And here we are in the 55th anniversary of the moon landing. So it's just wild.
That's a good point. Yeah. And just to point this to next year, right? Because we're talking about the 275, how it was completely tied with her and the moon thing, right? And so what are the chances that on the inauguration day next year, remember I told you the inauguration day is the day leaving 345 days in the year. President Kamala Harris equals 345. The Simpsons Bart to the future, 345. But the number 666, which is hugely tied to NASA, as Derek's going to show, and a lot of you guys already know that the full name of NASA equals 666. But the number 666 typed out equals 275. And again, it's going to be exactly 666 months from the moon landing to next year's inauguration. I mean, come on. And yeah, I think it's good. Just one last thing I want to point out real quick. I noticed that yesterday in her first speech as the nominee, they put this guy with the Colorado Buffaloes jersey or shirt behind her. I think not a coincidence, because Colorado Buffaloes equals female president Kamala Devi Harris. So definitely, I don't think that's that could connect to the guy, the firefighter that just died, who was from Buffalo. There's a whole Buffalo code here, but I'm not going to get into it. But so Derek's going to probably take off from this. I know he's going to talk about the 666 more. So I'll give the screen to you, Derek.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite numbers these days.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now Derek's going to talk about the serpent or the snake and the 666 and NASA, which goes perfectly with what I just showed you guys.
Right on, Cody. So this is all about NASA, deception, lies, stage shows, as we've been seeing play out in particular this month. And what I realized is that this is actually a riddle for the tongue of the snake. And this started last weekend after the event in Butler, Pennsylvania. And I noticed these two blood streaks that seem to be coming from his mouth. And I thought, wow, this kind of looks like the serpent tongue of NASA that gets split. And I thought, there's no way this can be a coincidence. Of course, Kamala Harris, who's all synced up with Inauguration Day, has the same birth numerology as NASA, 113. And I probably don't need to show all the words and phrases that have to do with lies, deception, and all tracing back to the number 113. So I actually typed out tongue of the snake just out of curiosity. And I was blown away when I saw it summed to 717. Because on the anniversary of the moon landing, one day before Kamala was endorsed by Biden, she turned 717 months old. Now, this was a number I talked about in my video yesterday. The F1 winner, Oscar Piastri, he was behind his teammate at the end of the race, but his teammate let him pass, effectively passing the torch to his McLaren teammate, just like Joe Biden passing the torch to Kamala. And that F1 driver was born 700 months and 17 days after Joe Biden. And I'm also going to touch on Robin Williams, because he is a figure that's monumentally connected to this code. And he passed away 717 days after Neil Armstrong. Now, this 717 is all synced up with 9/11, because the factors of 119 are 7 times 17. And you see these words here: divine feminine, 9/11, passing the torch, 9/11, femininity, 1109, Harris, even an upside down, 9/11 in the reverse standard. So when you write out the word tongue in standard, it sums to 622, just like Neil Alden Armstrong. And this week marked the 622nd week since Neil Armstrong died. His common name, Neil Armstrong, is 552. And that date was also 55 years and 2 days after the moon landing, when the Eagle landed on the lunar surface. Once again, if you believe. July 21st, this transfer was on Robin Williams' 73rd birthday. And this is the number that connects NASA to Joseph and Harris. All 73, ordinal or reverse. Another element of this snake riddle is that the word snake equals 176. And it was the snake on the face of Donald J. Trump, the tongue, 176. And Kamala's full name is the 176th prime number. Inauguration Day, 176 days after NASA's founding date. And you have to appreciate that the word snake sums to 1318, which is, of course, the verse of Revelation that reveals the number of the beast, 666. And as you pointed out, National Aeronautics and Space Administration is 666. Inauguration Day, 666 months after the moon landing and moonwalk. Fake moon landing and Apollo, both with that 666 gematria. And then a slide I put in here just for you, Cody. The WWE's Apollo Crews. This guy was born 6,606 days after the moonwalk.
Oh, wow.
The number 283 also appears in NASA's age for Inauguration Day. This is the gematria that Harris shares with 666 and the moon. Kamala will be 22,007 days old on January 20th. And 227, the satanic gematria of the word devil. And her middle name, Devi. It's devil without the L. The devil who speaks through the snake in the book of Genesis. Also, NASA's full name has that 2277 in standard gematria.
Derek, are you just a second? Are you aware of the song that came out last year by who was it by? I can't remember the artist, but it was called "Paint the Town Red." It was super connected to the Super Bowl, but it's talking about a woman being the devil, and it was clearly tied to Kamala Harris. And I at the time that came out, I completely coded it because it was like the lyrics of the song were she's a devil, she's a bad little B word, she's a rebel, and like I mean, I can't bring it all up here, but it was something I completely tied to Kamala Harris last year, and the whole song was about the devil, right? And so,
Sure. Yeah, I wasn't on to this riddle so strong back then, but I'm sure, definite strong connections there. And you brought this up to me the other day. Bernard Harris is the name of the first African American to complete a spacewalk. The word spacewalk equals 152. And this all ties into the movie Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams. We've been talking about this riddle with the eternal flame, the fire of the Olympics, passing the torch, the Olympics logo in the shape of a woman's face. Well, back in 1993, Robin Williams starred in a film where he dressed up as a woman, and it was called Mrs. Doubtfire, right? And this movie came out 13,666 days after Bernard Harris was born. And then if you measure from that film to the date Kamala took the race over from Joe, you get 11,197 days, which connects to 666 in Latin, 1197. And of course, Robin Williams with matching gematria with 666 in ordinal. That film also came out 11,380 days before Inauguration Day. And that's the big number of the divine feminine, 138 ordinal. And this was another slide from my video yesterday. Oscar Piastri, the F1 driver, had a bunch of 138 connections to both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This was even 138 weeks after Frank Williams died. We're talking about Robin Williams. Williams is the name of an F1 team. So even through Oscar Pistorius, he's got 138 birth numerology. But this all ties into the 9/11 and the 116. Now, this moonwalk in 1969 was broadcast on a date with 116 numerology, July 21st. This astronaut, Bernard Harris, no matter how you write his name out, you get 1119, 119, 1160, 116. And then Kamala was born 116 days after his birthday, which is the ordinal value of African American.
you know what? I got to share while you're at this that I found earlier that I wasn't able to add to my my slides.
Yeah.
If you go from the beginning of the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge to Kamala Harris's birthday, it's freaking 116 forwards and backwards, man.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there was another one too. Let me see if I can't dig this up quickly. So you said from the Golden Gate Bridge?
1933, the construction began.
Ah, that's really funny. 11/6/11. And then if you measure to NASA's date, which we did earlier, you also get a 6116. And that's going along with the 275.
Yeah. Crazy.
So then we get the famous moonwalk by pop star Michael Jackson. And Jackson has the 116, which is very similar to Robin Williams' 611 satanic. But I'm just blown away by how well these dates line up with the moonwalk from Apollo 11 and the Michael Jackson moonwalk. Michael Jackson's moonwalk aired 721 weeks exactly after the moonwalk, which was on 7/21. 7/21, the birthday of Robin Williams, and then the date that Joe Biden stepped down. I mean, who's scripting this? It's incredible. Jackson's moonwalk was also on the 16th of May, or 16/5. Neil Armstrong, 165. His moonwalk was 165 months before Michael's. This ties into the gematria of 666, 1650, Scottish Rite and Freemasonry, both 165. Also both Snake Tongue and Devil, 165. Measuring from Neil Armstrong's birth to Kamala's is 423 lunar phases or moons. And the moon equals 423. So does 2,160 miles, which is the diameter of the moon at the equator. And their birthdays are also 2 months, 16 days apart.
I mean, that's insane right there. I grew up 15 minutes away from where he grew up, Neil Armstrong.
Dude, Sean just said Neverland Ranch, like how they never landed on the moon.
Neverland Ranch. Yeah.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah.
And then we saw some of these slides with Lisa Simpson being the president. This episode aired 1,190 weeks before Lisa Marie Presley died, which connects back to the 9/11. And both Lisa Marie and Lisa Presley, 156, 9/11, the 156th prime number. Now, Lisa Simpson has an actual real-life birthday. And I thought it was interesting that they chose Mother's Day for Lisa Simpson's birthday, May 9th of 1982, given the strong feminine riddle that plays through this character. And this means Lisa Simpson would have been 2,202 weeks old when Kamala Harris, whose name equals 222, took the race over from Joe Biden.
And don't forget that President Kamala Harris equals 222, President Harris 222, and Vice President Harris 222.
Okay, that's good. I knew there were a couple more.
Yeah, like everything with her is at 222. And remember, Joseph just showed earlier that the wrestler Kamala, whose last name was Harris, he died on the 222 day of the year, and that's coming up this year. I think it's August 9th this year. So, yeah, and that was 2 days before Kamala Harris was actually selected as VP. That Kamala wrestler died. So,
yeah, that was a strong one. This means Lisa Simpson was born 210 months and 20 days after Kamala Harris, whose name equals 212. Kamala trying to become the president 2 years, 1 week, 2 days after Lisa Marie Presley died. And that's also 739 days. And these are the digits that kind of creep me out a little bit. The Great Depression, 739. Just like stock market, 739. And remember when Kamala took over, she was exactly 739 moons old. And this was a number that was coded into the Trump event in Butler, Pennsylvania there. Lastly, Kamala Devi Harris, the full name is 301. And when she, actually this is the wrong image here, but not Inauguration Day, but when she took over from Joe just the other day, that was 301 lunations after this episode of The Simpsons. Mm-hmm. So just wild stuff. I mean, we also have the Hillary Clinton symbolism, right? 9,073 days from this episode to Inauguration Day, syncing up with Hillary Rodham Clinton, who we thought might be the first female president. And a lot of people were talking about that in connection, but a little curveball perhaps from the Illuminati. I don't know how else to put it. There's a little bit more, but I think probably got enough for now.
Yeah, I just want to, touch on this topic though. Again, I started out this whole thing talking about how, well, first of all, the 152s I brought up earlier, how financial collapse equals 152, like female president, like Kamala Devi Harris. And then you got Derek revealing that she was exactly 739 lunar phases. Right, it was lunar phases, right?
Yes, sir.
Right and here. That just happens to be the gematria of stock market and the Great Depression. And she was born on the day that Herbert Hoover died. And Herbert Hoover was the president during the Great Depression. So I just don't, just like Derek said, it's a bit creepy because, I mean, we got this, I'm telling you, this seems like just more programming for whenever this next big market thing is. It could be this year. It could be in 2030. It could be still a few years away. But I really think Kamala Harris could be the one that's president or at least involved in some sort of stock market crash.
It's unfortunate, but that's the riddle that's playing out anyway. And it's just a matter of history that every generation gets one or two market corrections that devalues their retirement fund enough so that the money gets funneled upward. This has just been how it works ever since the Federal Reserve came into existence.
Oh, doesn't Federal Reserve equal 152? I think it does. Oh no, it equals 71 in the same cipher as female president and Kamala Devi Harris, but not in. It doesn't equal 152, but does have that 71 in the same cipher.
Yep.
So
some more interesting numbers there with the Federal Reserve, but yeah, definite riddle there.
Oh, 7-1 in the chat's pointing out Kamala. I'll put his comment up. Kamala 723 moon. I don't know if he means months or moons, but old on 1/20/25. First rally is today on 7/23.
Yep. Yeah, and it's funny. This is my mom's birthday today, 7/23. So.
Oh, really? Happy birthday!
A little bit of the organic side, I guess.
Yeah, happy birthday to the mom.
For sure. It's funny because I remember when the Queen died, that was on Zach Hubbard's mom's birthday.
Yeah, and then we just had this big dropout on Zach's birthday too.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Yeah, so, and he was the one that was talking about Kamala Harris. I mean, that's where I got this whole Kamala Harris thing from. I have to give him credit where credit is due. I mean, he was the first one to bring it to my attention, and that was 2.5 years ago now. But I mean, I've been ever since that. He talked about that. I've been following the riddles as it's gone along, So I can say I'm a bit of a Kamala Harris expert at this point, but not that I'm super proud of that. But
yeah, I'd rather follow someone with a little more intelligence myself, but our options are slim here.
Yeah. Yeah, and the 2207 days from her birth to the inauguration. That's also interesting because that's the 49th prime, 227, and of course she's the 49th vice president, and she equals 49. So that's one of her big numbers.
Oh, and shout out to Casey Jones in the chat, who pointed out to me that we had this significant middle eclipse over India. Now, back in June of 2020, this was the first middle eclipse since 1991. And it was the same day that Trump held his comeback rally after COVID in Tulsa. And this eclipse peaked over the country of India. So if you look at the 2020 June eclipse, you see the path. It peaks over Uttarakhand, India. And Kamala connected to India.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, if you go back, let's see, where is this calculator? To July 21st this year, it was exactly 49 months later.
Wow. Yeah, that 49 has come up a lot with and I find it funny that that Casey just mentioned that today is the Sirius heliacal rising of Sirius day, and don't forget Sirius equals 49, right?
Oh, that's interesting too.
So there's definitely a connection with Sirius. I mean, because this is all happening around this time of Sirius. And there's a commenter that I got to give a shout out to. She's always commenting, and she's always writing these really long, very detailed, intricate posts, which are always very good. And yeah, so she's always talking about Sirius. And yeah, so I'm sure there's a huge connection with Sirius. I haven't looked specifically into it, but yeah, just so you guys know, today is the 7/23, the day they celebrate supposedly the heliacal rising of Sirius.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Richard West in the chat is pointing out something that Zach pointed out on his stream yesterday that I thought was insane. They said she raised a 49.6 in a fundraiser yesterday, and that was the same betting odds that they gave the pitcher Harris to win last night. That was that was crazy. They gave him like a 49.6% chance to win or something like that. Zach showed it on his live stream last night, and And then she had the same day, she raised 49.6 in a fundraiser or something like that. Of course, that's a perfect number also, 496.
Yeah, the name Lewis Harris is 496. And this came to mind because of the Harris poll. You know, all the polling we get for the presidential race comes from the Harris poll.
Oh, really?
And then it traces back to this guy named Lewis Harris, who was born in New Haven, Connecticut, you know, for the Yale riddle. And he's got the 496 too.
I did not know that about what you just said about the polling is the Harris thing. I did not know that.
Yeah, I realized that yesterday. Like they mentioned the Harris poll, and I'm like, well, why would we believe the Harris poll? It's her polling her own people. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's the name of the actual company that's been doing it. And I think ever since like 1940s probably.
Today is also Neptunalia, guys. Thanks to 7-1 in the chat. So that's interesting also. And Bob says Kamala, pioneer. I guess in Greek it's 187.
Funny that Neptune and Sirius line up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is interesting that they, I think it's a reason they celebrate both those things on the same day, I think.
Must be. So, yeah, Cody, I mean, that's all I got for the slides pretty much. Got a couple other nuggets, but I think we covered most of the big basics here. In light of everything that's been going on with Biden the last couple of days, people speculating about his health, there were rumors last night that he died. I find it funny that this all happened 42 months after Biden took office. Mm-hmm. When you read Revelation, you know, the beast rules for 42 months. And
you know, that's actually the first. That's actually the first thing I pointed out to my girlfriend when I saw how long it was. I saw the 42 months. I was actually looking at that specifically for something to happen because I was thinking of that verse in the Bible with the beast reigning for 42 months. And of course, I that's what we get. We get the big news right at that time.
Right. And that middle eclipse over India, that started the 42nd month of Trump's presidency. And some of my older viewers will know that 4 years ago, I was onto this assassination riddle. I said the word, but you know, it didn't happen in 2020, but I'm like, man, there's something coded for this particular date. Like June 20th and 21st were so significant for this whole riddle. And now looking back 4 years later, you see it just pointed to this whole transfer that's going on in July. So wild stuff.
Yeah, just crazy stuff. Like, again, guys, we we did a video at the beginning of the month with some crazy stuff that a lot of that kind of came to fruition. And now, you know, I don't think it'll be that long before we see more of this drama, how this is going to play out. I know people were waiting to see if Biden was going to actually make an appearance or one of his clones was going to make an appearance or whatever, whoever the guy is. And I guess he's supposed to be at the White House today. So we'll see what they give us, if they give us like an AI video or they give us a voicemail from him again or what. But I don't expect it to be very long before. I think it could very well be on August 9th. Last year, I decoded August 9th for Biden dying. And then we got a guy with my last name in Utah saying he was gonna take out Biden, which was it was trippy to me. And now it would be interesting if exactly 1 year later it actually happens. Like he dies or gets replaced or I mean, just August 9th being the 222 day of the year, Kamala Harris having the 222 in so many different ways she has that number. And that's, of course, order out of chaos equals that. And again, don't forget, guys, tomorrow is exactly 183 weeks after the inauguration of Biden and Harris. And I think that's definitely something to watch for because, I had this up from earlier. At the rally the other night, Hulk Hogan, he spoke right before Trump. And I called that too. I did a video just like a night before. And I said, I'm seeing this Hulk riddle with Trump. And then the next day, without me even knowing, they announced Hulk Hogan's going to be speaking right before Trump. So here comes Hulk Hogan, and he literally says the words "enough was enough," and that ties to the Illuminati card, which everyone was tying the Trump thing to, which is enough is enough. But he said enough was enough, which I think is interesting because enough was enough equals 183 and 222. Like President Harris. Whoops. President Harris, if I can type. Man. So yeah, President Harris, 183,222 in the same ciphers as enough was enough. And again, tomorrow is exactly 183 weeks after the Biden-Harris inauguration. So I just think it's something. Maybe the ritual for this time period's already happened just a few days before it, but there could be something that happens tomorrow, I think.
And it's funny that this golf tournament was so synced up with Kamala Harris, because when you look at Hulk Hogan, he was born in Augusta, Georgia, which is where the Masters is held annually. And the year that Hulk Hogan was born, the golfer Ben Hogan won the Masters. And Hogan has the 8/11 birthday, which is the same date that Robin Williams died. So it's wild that this golf thing came together too, because Hogan is himself a walking golf riddle essentially.
Well, that's crazy, and also because we had that golfer sync up with Kamala yesterday, and then we had that baseball player Hogan Harris.
Yeah, that's so wild.
It is wild. I mean, how it all came together with that, and that obviously ties to that too, because we just had Hulk Hogan saying enough was enough, which equals President Harris. And then we have last night in Kamala Harris's hometown, we have Hogan Harris beating the team from Harris County, where of course is tied to the whole. It's also so perfectly tied, and most of the people in the chat, including you, Derek, know how crazy this stuff can get. But it never ceases to amaze me sometimes.
Well, no, we're looking at literally all sports now, right? I mean, Formula One, baseball, which we've been looking at forever, golf. It seems like every time. I don't know how they do it or who's doing it, but it's incredible.
Yeah, Well, I don't know if I'm going to try to, let's see. I'm going to leave the link in the chat. I know Dr. Savage wants to get on if he can. I don't know if you're in the chat, Dr. Savage, but if you want to jump on, there's the link for you. It's long overdue that I get Dr. Savage on a stream, and he's somebody in the community that's been doing good work for a long time that needs to be seen more. So hopefully he can jump on here. If not, we'll try to do another stream with him later. If not, but Derek, I don't know if you want to stay around while he jumps on, or if you have something else to do. It's up to you. Doesn't matter.
I got another about 25-30 minutes here that I can hang out.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see if Dr. Savage wants to jump in. But yeah, just to go back real fast to the thing with Hulk Hogan, like I really think, yeah. I mean, it's just, I think he's already here. I think there he is, Dr. Savage, right on the ball.
You hear me?
Can you hear me, man? Are you there?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I hear you loud and clear.
All right, cool. Yeah, first I want to give a shout out to Derek, man. That calculator, man, we couldn't do this without that. And people might not like to spend money, and I think paying for the subscription where you get the access to like the Bible, that is, I mean, that's no amount of money is worth that. Or I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's priceless. It's what you can find using just the Bible and this knowledge is overwhelming at times. You know, it's crazy. So I just want to give him a big ups. Like this whole community sprouted from his calculator. You know, not just Zach's work. So he deserves that respect.
I appreciate that, man.
And yeah, I absolutely second that. I mean, I'm so grateful for Derek's calculator every day. I always think to myself how easy this calculator makes my life, and the fact that he just added composite numbers, guys, and that's a whole nother realm we get to go into now.
Oh, that's huge. That's gonna be game changing. Zenith's already on top of that, and I've made a lot of crazy finds just with composite numbers too. So yeah, that's definitely a great addition there.
Yeah, I admit I was a little resistant to that because I'm a little cautious about how many numbers I want to throw up on the screen. But damn it, over the last couple of days, I've just been looking at those composites like blown away so often.
Yeah, you guys have been talking a lot about Kamala Harris and the moon, and like these bridges and stuff like that. And remember, we had the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. It all connected to the Pope. You know, like I think it was like 266 days before his birthday or something like that. And there was a big 137-33 ritual that went on there. I remember, but I found a lot of crazy connections here to August 3rd that tie to like Kamala, the moon, the Pope. And it seems to be a pretty big day. The moon enters Leo. It's in opposition of Pluto in Aquarius, the moon that day as well. So that seems like it's the day before a new moon, and they like to do manifestation rituals right before new moons and full moons. And but yeah, I was pointing to August 3rd as maybe like the Pope might die or Joe Biden might die, and like Harris becomes president that day. Something's going to go on with August 3rd. It's like the 216th day of the year. 8338, you know, that's the murder number. So we got everything aligning to August 3rd for
Well,
a big ritual.
you know what's crazy about that date, since you're mentioning it? Me and Derek, I actually brought that date up last month when me and Derek did our stream about the lunation 1256, and that's the last day of lunation 1256, and that lunation number has been huge for what has actually happened this month, because of course the full phrase, you guys know the assassination of Donald Trump equals to 1256, and then he was speaking in Pfizer form, which equals 1256. So the fact that that's the last day of that lunation is quite interesting. And like you mentioned, the 3883, the murder code, and that's Tom Brady's birthday. And if I remember correctly, he was roasted this year at some point. When was that? He got roasted. Tom Brady did. Can't remember when that was, but
Yeah, 83 is also the day that Christopher Columbus first sailed in 1492, I believe. And so that's going to tie in big with all this stuff too. We all know like moon equals 218, right? You know, and so I'm just trying to go through my slides here. I have so many that I'm trying to make sure I point out the right information here, and we're not just all over the place. But yeah, if you got something you could throw in real quick while I find these pictures, go ahead.
Well, that Tom Brady roast was on May 5th, which is
Okay.
90 days before August 3rd. And there's actually a double moon connection with those numbers because the moon equals 90 ordinal. And in Hebrew gematria, Savage, you mentioned moon is 218. In Hebrew ordinal, moon is 38.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, connecting this date, August 3rd, back to the Pope, it's 33 weeks since his last birthday. And then it also comes 137 days before his next birthday, which is the 33rd prime number. Then we have August 3rd is obviously 3883, murder, death, RIP. And it's 13 weeks, 3 days before the election, November 5th, just like we had that big Revelation 13:3 ritual, president equals 133. It's also 3 months, 3 days before the election. And it comes 171 days before the inauguration. 666 equals 171 in Fibonacci. Joseph Biden equals 171 in English Kabbalah. Tree of Death equals 171 in English Kabbalah. Biff Tannen equals 171 in English Kabbalah. Holy Bible 171 English Kabbalah. So there's a lot of synchronicities that we see common there, and it's just all aligning for 8-3. And like I said,
7-1 in the chat is 7-1's mentioning in the chat. I've mentioned that the date 6-2 was exactly 8,300 days after 9/11, which it was, and then I had flooding here, and flood equals 8-3 in Germany. Germany equals 83. But he's saying that considering that 9/11 or 6-2 was 8,300 days after 9/11, and 8-3 is 62 days after 6-2. So that's interesting. That kind of lines up with that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, like I said, Christopher Columbus, first voyage to be known as the New World. Kamala Harris equals 532 in satanic. Anuit Coceptus equals 532 in primes. The New World is 532 in satanic, matching, Kamala Harris. So you got the Anuit Coeptus there, the New World, U.S. President, 532 reverse satanic, Bergoglio, 532 in Fibonacci. It's exactly 532 years since that voyage. So in San Francisco, we have a Columbus Drive, I think, or that may be Chicago. Yeah, Chicago has a Columbus Drive. I remember 7711 was tying a lot of Wormwood, Mothman, Chicago bridge connections together, and a lot of it can sync through this Christopher Columbus synchronicity, But mass shooting is also 532, so there could be like a mass shooting that day. There's a Columbus Avenue in San Francisco where Harris is from. Yeah. Oh, also, I wanted to point out that from her birthday in 2023 to August 3rd is 9 sidereal months and 11 days. So you have the 9/11 connection as well.
Yeah, and it's going perfectly with what you're talking about, the New World connection, because all day they've been really hitting on the point that she's going to be really touting that Trump is taking them backwards and she's going to take them forward. So that's what her vision for a brighter future, it says. So, yeah.
And then, August 3rd is also 2 months, 18 days before Kamala's birthday. So there's that moon number again.
Mm-hmm.
And then October 20th, 1964, her birth to August 3rd is 21,838 days. It's the 21838. So you got the moon number there, and then the date 38. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like when those dates line up like that. When you have a date that you measure from, and it actually lines up with the day you're measuring to, or something. I've had that happen a few times, and that's very interesting.
And I was talking to William Sullivan, and we were putting together some things with like St. Louis and King Louis of France that all seem to align perfectly with this stuff too, because like St. Louis kind of ties in with the whole feminine ritual, with the arch and then the Capitol building right there. I think Bobby Simpson or Casey Jones, he pointed that out a long time ago. And I think 7711 has put that in one of their videos as well. But there's a huge feminine overtone there with birthing rituals in St. Louis. So there's a big St. Louis connection here with Louis the Ninth. His birthday is 266 days after August 3rd. Like we got the 266th Pope. And
38 weeks, right?
Yep, 38 weeks. Yep.
Kamala, Sean just mentioned in the chat, just to add to what you're talking about with the moon and the 218. Did you notice that? Let's see. Sorry, Sean said if it's been mentioned, but I mentioned the debate was 218 days after her birth. 21800 days after her birth. Interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, but then with the King Louis thing, King Louis the Ninth equals 150 in ordinal. August 3rd leaves 150 days left in the year. King Louis the Ninth of France equals 218. King Louis the Ninth of France equals 101. It's 101 days after his birthday. So yeah, there's a big St. Louis King Louis connection that I haven't really totally uncovered yet. I'm just kind of getting into. I was kind of messing with it today, but yeah, just seeing all these synchronicities with her, the moon, and yeah, it also goes into the helical rising of Sirius. I think you guys pointed that out. I found an iPet goat too. When you reverse it, when you have Bush like in the chair and it's got the star around him, he says August, August, August 3 times, and then he like croaks, has like a heart attack, it seems like. And then it shows the dog, or it shows that goat in the box with the dog Sirius on it, the 3 lights, like Orion's belt has the 3 stars that point to Sirius. So I think we might see a president death or a pope death, something on 8/3. or like if Biden dies, Kamala becomes president. It just seems like there's a lot of stuff kind of just synchronizing here to that date.
Yeah, and what you mentioned about Chicago also, I just wanted to point out is that I don't know if you mentioned it, but the Democratic National Convention is in Chicago,
Oh
and
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
something I forgot to mention too. And my thing is the convention will end one day before Kamala's dad's birthday, which I mentioned earlier was last year. India landed on the moon on her dad's birthday. And so now this year she could be giving her speech to accept the nomination at the convention one day before the anniversary of India's moon landing and her dad's birthday, Donald J. Harris. So something to think about. And then with the August 3rd thing, yeah, I mean, and the fact that this year it's the 216. Normally it's like Obama's birthday is the 216 day of the year, but this year it's 8/3, and I'm trying to remember who else died on that, or who else was born on 8/3. Tom Brady, but there was also somebody else I thought was probably relevant, but can't remember now.
Another thing that stands out. Sorry to jump in real quick. This whole Back to the Future riddle we saw through The Simpsons, Bart to the Future, right?
Yeah.
Remember in Back to the Future, they traveled ahead in time to see the Cubs win the World Series in Chicago. And if you measure from the Cubs winning the World Series to Kamala potentially accepting the nomination on the 22nd, it's exactly 407 weeks. So another big 47 for the potential 47th president.
Interesting. And of course, that's also tied to Obama too, who's very connected with Chicago. And then we're talking about 8/3, which is one day before his birthday. And yeah. I guess he's one of the ones that has not yet endorsed her. But yeah, so I mean, I think I definitely think what Dr. Savage is saying is interesting with 8/3. I'll have to look more into it myself, but.
Another thing on a side note, it's not with the 8/3 thing. I don't know if you guys have seen Lambda 115's recent videos connecting a lot to 301. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have watched them, yeah.
Okay, well, did you know that the class that George Bush read the Pet Goat book in was classroom 301?
Nice.
I did not know that, no.
And then, okay, it was Emma E. Booker Elementary School. And Emma Edwin Benton Booker was her full name, equals 119.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that's just something that I thought kind of went with his stuff there with the 9/11 stuff. And
didn't we just have a 301 earlier?
Yeah, Kamala Devi Harris's full name is 301. And she took over from Joe 301 lunar phases after that Simpsons episode.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's another guy I want to shout out is Lambda. His videos are always mind blowing. Every time I watch his videos, I'm mind blown by what he shows. And yeah, just everything that he shows on his channel. So guys, make sure you go subscribe to his channel and also Dr. Savage. I don't know do you have your link to post in the thing? Make sure people can get to your channel, man.
Yeah, I'll post it in there. I'm still banned right now. They said a week ban, and then it's been 8 days. So who knows? Whenever they just decide to let me start posting again.
Are you kidding me? They said a week, and then they didn't even. That's
crazy. Yeah, it's been 8 days. So I'm thinking, maybe tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do whatever they want. So.
In light of this Emma E. Booker, I just heard a couple days ago that the photographer from the New York Times who took the picture of Trump that allegedly had the bullet that struck his ear, that was the same photographer who photographed George W. Bush at the elementary school on 9/11.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which cracked me up because I've been making a joke for a couple weeks now that the bullet that struck Trump's ear is the same plane that hit the Pentagon on 9/11.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks the same to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks similar. Yeah. It does. When you showed me it does look similar. But I think it's just I don't know how people can't catch on, man. It's obviously like it's
Well,
right in your face.
people are living in a LARP session, man. They enjoy it. You know, this is drama at at the highest level, and it's just
Yeah.
the mind fuckery involved too. I mean, you have so many people supporting Trump, thinking that he's anti deep state, and the deep state is doing all the conspiracies. But then you get this very bizarre assassination attempt, and you would expect Trump to be like, "Hey, they're not protecting me," but he's like, "Oh no, they're doing a great job." So think about what kind of state of mind his supporters are in. As this all unfolds. Like there's so much confusion, especially this month.
And then it all connects to the moon, which rules emotions and all that. So
Yeah, the moon here last night where I'm at was crazy. It was like big and red, and yeah, it was. I don't know if you guys had that type of moon, but here it was. I hadn't seen it. I haven't. It's more like orange, but it was definitely huge last night. The moon.
yeah, it was huge and bright. Yeah, and orange.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing. I know a lot of people like to say only the base ciphers, only the base ciphers. I find all kinds of awesome connections just through the mathematical ciphers. A lot of times, the primes, trigonals, stuff like that. But like you've pointed out before, that the English Kabbalah cipher definitely is legit and being used in these scripts. And another one that I've found does a lot of times align is the alphanumeric satanic, where it numbers 1 through 9 first, then it does the lowercase letters, then it does the uppercase letters. Kind of like you used to see in school on, the wall. You'd see the numbers, then the lowercase, then the uppercase.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Emma E. Booker Elementary School in the alphanumeric cipher equals 666, where that school where they did the iPad Go book.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I just want to say, yeah, don't just stick to the base ciphers. Like you'll find make sure you're not just using 20 ciphers to match 20 things and there's really no reference. But if you use one of these other ciphers and you got like 5 things that align, that's no different than aligning in the base ciphers.
Well, and two, these numbers are so much bigger, when you look at these mathematical methods. And when you go back to Hebrew gematria, those were considered base methods. They had like the base 10, and many of those were mathematical, similar to what we use. But when you get numbers that are much larger that connect, that's actually more significant than 2 numbers in reduction connecting, I think. I mean, it depends on what you're looking at, of course, but yeah, there's a lot to be found there.
It's just like that thing I showed at the beginning of this stream, that the 1279, the thing they had posted on CNN, the headline just happens to equal 1279, and then it was 1279 days after the inauguration. So I think, and like you said, Dr. Savage, like the Kabbalah one, I really had a blast like learning about this too, about the English Kabbalah, the Crowley stuff. And now I know why these ciphers work. Derek, I'm not really sure where the alphanumeric satanic cipher actually comes from. Is there like, do you know, I'm sure you know more about that than I do.
Yeah, there's this guy, Luis, who was on my Discord server. He's done a lot of research into particularly the names of the ciphers, but he came across this. I can't say exactly where. And he sent me a bunch of finds in it. And I was just like, man, I'm cautious about adding new things, but there were enough interesting things there too. And I try and keep these ciphers as logical as possible, based in the alphabetic order when I can. And this is
and you do have the option for people to make their own too. So if people want to make their own, that's also there for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I just took advantage of that for the first time, because I noticed that Zenith was using Zenith and Lambda were using this cipher, the composite cipher, and so I just filled it in, and I've been kind of using it. I haven't really found anything specific yet, but I know that if you guys go check out Zenith of the Alphas channel, he has some pretty crazy finds with this composite cipher. I'm definitely going to experiment more with it and see what I can find, but it is something that is interesting, because we have been finding that the composite numbers are relevant. And just for instance, there was this article released yesterday with Trump. He supposedly donated money to Kamala Harris, and at the top of the article, they called it a wise investment. And let me see if I can find that article, because I thought it was pretty telling. I shared it with Derek a bit, but supposedly Trump donated money to Kamala's service. I don't know if I'll be able to find it here, but my computer's slowing down, I guess. Yeah, a wise investment. Trump gives $6,000 gift to Kamala Harris, and that's going to come back. It's coming back to bite him, I guess. So I just decoded the phrase in quotes, a wise investment, and what I found interesting with the composite match here, a wise investment. If you go to just the base cipher, it equals 198. Well, 198 has a connection to this 152 that's been all over this Kamala thing, because I believe it's 198 is the 152nd composite number. So I think that's pretty telling, because again, that's an article about Kamala. She's got the 152 all over, and then the article has the words in quotes equals 198, which is the 152 composite. And another thing I found was that from the day that she was endorsed by Biden on 7/21 to the election on 11/5 is what was it? Is it oh yeah, it was 15 weeks and 2 days, right? So there's your 152 again. But if you type 152 in and you look at the composite for that, it just happens to be 115, which is the date of the election. So the 152 is the 115th composite. So 15 weeks and 2 days after she gets endorsed to 115, and it breaks down perfectly. So I'm just kind of showing you guys what I found so far with the composite numbers.
Yeah, one thing I found is that 2024, the year we're in, is the 1717th composite. And Freemasonry founded in 1717. And we talked a little bit about how powerful the 307th anniversary is for that organization. And then you come across the composite connection, and you're like, man, no wonder this was like so important this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great one. That's one we'll have to look more into, even with that connection. Dr. Savage, you still there? You got anything with composites or anything else you want to share?
I think he might have dropped off.
Did he drop off? Yeah, I was wondering why I didn't hear him. Dr. Savage. Oh, he was on lunch break. He had to drop out. But yeah, if you're still listening, Dr. Savage, guys, here's his channel. Just go type in Dr. Savage. I think you'll find it. Or if he wants to post the link in the chat, make sure you guys go subscribe. Right now, he's being banned, but hopefully he comes back. And again, Joseph Aquaviva is also in the chat. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him. Sean, let me find Sean. Are you still in here? Where is Sean? I just want to put his channel up so people can see it.
I'm going to pull this video tomorrow and put it back on Rumble again, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so anyway, I'll have all the links, guys, for all the channels. Okay, here's Sean. He's right there, Sean. So it's Sean of the Sod, but spelled with the 4s. So go subscribe to his channel, Dr. Savage. Obviously, go subscribe to Derek Jamachinator85, who's in the stream with me right now. I'll have all the links in the video, the comments, so you guys can click. But yeah, I think in this video, me, Derek, and Dr. Savage shared a lot of crazy stuff with, I think just like I felt after the last video we did together, I felt we hit it pretty much together. We hit it on the head. We hit the nail on the head. So.
Oh yeah, dude. My reaction when someone told me what happened on the 13th, I just put my head down. I was like, no way. And I pulled up my thumbnail right away. Like, I just made this video. And it was a nice little party trick for everyone that I was with.
Yeah, it's just great that, I saw that connection with the 1256, and then you saw all the other connections. And then it just played out. So
I just like seeing my friend group wake up a little bit too, because I'm like, I made this video, and then we were waiting for the footage to come out, and then we were watching the footage with this mindset that it could be staged, and everyone saw it and they're like, what was that really? Like, you couldn't really see much. It's just wild.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. So thanks again, Derek, for coming on. I really appreciate you and all your tools and all your work. And thank you to Dr. Savage. And thank you to everyone in the chat. Much love to you all. Please hit the like buttons if you guys are just getting in or if you guys are just leaving. And I don't know if you have anything last to say, Derek, but I guess we'll call that a stream.
Peace, love, and God bless.
Yep. Peace, love. God bless you all. And we'll see you guys in the next decode. See you.